Chapter 1, Extreme Ownership. Extreme Ownership, How U.S. Navy SEALs Lead and Win by Jocko Willink and Leif Babin begins with a powerful lesson on the fundamental principle of extreme ownership. The authors, both former Navy SEAL officers, illustrate how this concept applies not only to military operations but also to leadership in any context. The first chapter sets the tone for the entire book by highlighting the critical importance of leaders taking complete ownership of their responsibilities and decisions. Introduction to Extreme Ownership. The authors recount a pivotal mission in the city of Ramadi, Iraq, during their time as SEAL officers. The mission's failure led to the death of a fellow SEAL and the loss of valuable intelligence. Initially, they were quick to blame external factors, such as the intelligence provided and the actions of their subordinates. However, their superior officer's stern rebuke forced them to confront a harsh reality. As leaders, they were responsible for the mission's outcome, regardless of the challenges they faced. The Law of Combat, Leadership Responsibility. The authors introduce the concept of the Law of Combat, which states that leaders are ultimately responsible for everything that happens under their command. They emphasize that this principle extends to all levels of leadership, from the highest-ranking officers to frontline supervisors. In a combat environment, mistakes and failures can have severe consequences, and lives are at stake. This unrelenting accountability requires leaders to take ownership of every decision and its outcomes. Ego and the dangers of denial. Willink and Babin delve into the ego-driven mindset that can hinder effective leadership. They caution against succumbing to ego and pride, which can blind leaders to their own mistakes and impede their ability to learn and adapt. The authors admit that they too fell into this trap early in their careers, blaming others and failing to take full ownership. They stress that humility and a willingness to acknowledge errors are essential for growth and improvement. The dichotomy of leadership, balancing extreme ownership. The authors introduce the concept of the dichotomy of leadership, which emphasizes the delicate balance between extreme ownership and recognizing when to delegate and trust subordinates. They stress that while leaders must take ownership, they should also empower their teams and give them the autonomy to excel. This balance ensures that leaders are not micromanaging every detail while still being accountable for the overall mission's success. Application in business and leadership. Willink and Babin illustrate how extreme ownership applies to business and civilian leadership. They recount examples from their experiences as consultants after leaving the military, where they encountered leadership challenges in various industries. These experiences reinforce their belief that the principles of extreme ownership transcend military settings and are universally applicable. Conclusion: Ownership for Success. The first chapter of Extreme Ownership establishes a foundation of accountability and ownership. The authors make it clear that leadership is not about excuses but about taking full responsibility for outcomes, regardless of the circumstances. This core principle sets the stage for the subsequent chapters, where the authors delve into specific leadership principles and share real-world examples of how extreme ownership leads to success. In essence, the first chapter serves as a wake-up call to leaders at all levels, urging them to embrace extreme ownership as a guiding philosophy. It underscores the idea that true leadership demands humility, self-awareness, and a relentless commitment to taking ownership of both successes and failures. By internalizing this concept, leaders can create a culture of accountability, empowerment, and effective decision-making that propels their teams to victory in any arena. Chapter 2, No Bad Teams, Only Bad Leaders. In the second chapter of Extreme Ownership, How U.S. Navy SEALs Lead and Win by Jocko Willink and Leif Babin, the authors delve deeper into the principle of extreme ownership by focusing on the crucial relationship between leadership and team performance. The chapter's title, No Bad Teams, Only Bad Leaders, encapsulates the central theme, that the success or failure of a team is ultimately determined by the quality of its leadership. The crucial role of leadership. The authors reiterate their core belief that leaders are responsible for everything that happens within their teams. They stress that while external factors can influence outcomes, effective leaders take responsibility for their team's performance regardless of the circumstances. This stance emphasizes the importance of leadership's influence on shaping the team's culture, mindset, and actions. Case study: The Performance Gap. Willink and Babin recount their experience as leaders during SEAL training, where they observed significant performance gaps among different boat crews. Rather than attributing these differences solely to the individuals involved, they realized that their own leadership was a major factor. They recognized that the boat crews underperforming under their leadership were a reflection of their shortcomings as leaders. Identifying the source of problems. The authors emphasize that leaders must first look inward when faced with challenges. Instead of blaming external factors or individual team members, leaders should analyze their own decisions, communication, and guidance. By taking ownership of the team's performance, leaders can identify and address the root causes of issues. Leadership by example. The authors stress the importance of leading by example. They recount a story from their SEAL training when an officer named Commander Dave, through his actions and humility, set an example of leadership that inspired respect and loyalty among his team. They emphasize that leaders who demonstrate dedication, discipline, and a strong work ethic inspire their teams to emulate those qualities. The ripple effect of leadership. Willink and Babin emphasize that leadership sets the tone for the entire team. They describe a scenario in Ramadi where a team member's lack of discipline and ownership had a negative impact on the entire team's performance. The authors stress that one team member's attitude can influence the collective mindset, either positively or negatively. Instilling ownership in the team. The authors outline steps to instill the principle of extreme ownership within the team. 1. Clarify expectations. Leaders must communicate clear expectations and standards for performance. 2. Decentralized command. Empower team members to make decisions within their areas of responsibility. 3. Ownership mindset. Encourage team members to take ownership of their tasks and responsibilities. 4. Accountability. Hold team members accountable for actions and decisions. Conclusion. The leader's responsibility. The second chapter of Extreme Ownership reinforces the idea that a team's performance is a direct reflection of its leadership. Willink and Babin emphasize that leaders must take full ownership of their teams, both in terms of successes and failures. By leading with discipline, humility, and a commitment to excellence, leaders set the example and create a culture of extreme ownership. This chapter serves as a call to action for leaders to recognize their influence on their team's performance and to continuously strive for improvement. In essence, no bad teams, only bad leaders underscores the transformative power of effective leadership. The chapter reinforces the notion that leadership is not just about giving orders but about embodying the principles and values that inspire a team to excel. By embracing extreme ownership and leading by example, leaders can cultivate a culture of excellence, accountability, and high performance within their teams. Chapter 3, Believe. In the third chapter of Extreme Ownership, How U.S. Navy SEALs Lead and Win by Jocko Willink and Leif Babin, the authors dive into the critical role of belief in leadership and its impact on both individual and team performance. The chapter emphasizes the power of a leader's belief in the mission, the team, and themselves. The importance of belief. Willink and Babin assert that belief is the foundation of successful leadership. Leaders must have unwavering faith in their team's capabilities and their ability to accomplish the mission, even in the face of adversity. This belief serves as a motivating force that drives the team's actions and decisions. Case study: The Sniper's Belief. The authors recount a story from Ramadi where a sniper named Mark Lee exhibited extraordinary courage and selflessness. Despite being outnumbered and facing intense enemy fire, Lee's belief in his team's training and their ability to hold their ground inspired his actions. He sacrificed his life to protect his teammates, demonstrating the powerful impact of belief in the midst of chaos. The connection between belief and success. Willink and Babin highlight the correlation between a leader's belief and the team's performance. When leaders genuinely believe in their team's potential, they instill confidence, motivation, and a sense of purpose. This belief energizes the team to overcome challenges and accomplish their goals. The Pygmalion Effect, Self-Fulfilling Prophecy. The authors introduce the Pygmalion Effect, a psychological phenomenon where higher expectations lead to an increase in performance. Leaders who believe in their team's capabilities set higher expectations, which in turn influence the team to rise to the occasion and meet those expectations. The impact of negative beliefs. Conversely, Negative beliefs can have a detrimental impact on a team's performance. The authors share an example of a team that struggled due to their leader's negative attitude and lack of belief in their abilities. This skepticism permeated the team, leading to a self-fulfilling prophecy of failure. Building belief. Willink and Babin provide insights into how leaders can foster belief within their teams. 1. Confident communication. Leaders must communicate their belief in the team's abilities with confidence and conviction. 2. Setting high expectations. Expectations set the standard for performance. Leaders should set challenging but achievable goals. 3. Demonstrating commitment. Leaders who lead by example and demonstrate commitment inspire their teams to follow suit. 4. Continuous improvement. Leaders should actively seek ways to improve the team's skills and capabilities, reinforcing their belief in growth. Applying belief in business. The authors discuss how belief translates to the business world. Just as in military operations, leaders in the corporate world must believe in their teams and their strategies to achieve success. The power of belief drives innovation, encourages risk-taking, and fosters a culture of excellence. Conclusion: belief drives action. In the third chapter of Extreme Ownership, the authors underscore the transformative impact of belief on leadership and team performance. They emphasize that belief is not just a passive mental state but a dynamic force that drives action and shapes outcomes. By instilling unwavering belief in the mission, the team, and oneself, leaders can inspire greatness, foster resilience, and achieve extraordinary results. In essence, the chapter titled Belief serves as a reminder that leadership goes beyond tangible tasks and strategies. It is about the intangible quality of belief that fuels a team's determination and success. Through powerful anecdotes and practical advice, the authors challenge leaders to cultivate belief in themselves, their teams, and their mission. By harnessing the power of belief, leaders can ignite the potential within their teams and guide them towards victory. Chapter 4: Check the Ego. In the fourth chapter of Extreme Ownership, How U.S. Navy SEALs Lead and Win by Jocko Willink and Leif Babin, the authors tackle the destructive force of ego and its detrimental impact on effective leadership. The chapter delves into the ways in which unchecked ego can hinder a leader's ability to make sound decisions, collaborate with others, and drive team success. Ego's role in leadership. The authors stress that ego is a natural human trait, but it can become a liability when it interferes with effective leadership. An ego-driven leader is more concerned with their own image, status, and desires than with the welfare of the team and the mission. Case study: The Illusion of Invincibility. Willink and Babin recount an example from Ramadi where a mission went awry due to a leader's overconfidence and ego. The leader's belief in his invincibility led to a lack of preparation and ultimately resulted in the mission's failure. This example illustrates how ego can blind leaders to potential pitfalls and prevent them from making well-informed decisions. Ego and communication breakdown. The authors highlight the damaging impact of ego on communication within a team. Ego-driven leaders may be resistant to receiving feedback, rejecting input from subordinates, and stifling open dialogue. This breakdown in communication undermines teamwork and prevents the team from making informed decisions collectively. The dichotomy of leadership revisited. Willink and Babin reintroduce the concept of the dichotomy of leadership, which emphasizes the balance between extreme ownership and decentralized command. They caution that ego-driven leaders may misinterpret decentralized command as an opportunity to exert control over every detail, rather than empowering their team to take ownership. Humility and ownership. The authors stress the importance of humility as a counterbalance to ego. Humble leaders are willing to admit mistakes, seek feedback, and learn from their experiences. Humility enables leaders to take ownership of their decisions, even when those decisions lead to unfavorable outcomes. Leading with humility. Willink and Babin outline ways in which leaders can check their egos and lead with humility. 1. Accepting blame. Leaders should acknowledge their mistakes and take responsibility for them. 2. Embracing constructive feedback. Ego-driven leaders should welcome feedback and use it to improve their performance. 3. Learning from failure. Leaders should view failure as an opportunity to learn and grow rather than as a reflection of their worth. Ego and business leadership. The authors discuss the prevalence of ego in the business world and its potential to stifle innovation, collaboration, and effective decision-making. They emphasize that business leaders must prioritize the success of the organization over their personal desires and ego-driven agendas. Conclusion: The enemy within. In the fourth chapter of Extreme Ownership, highlight the destructive influence of ego on leadership and teamwork. They underscore that ego is the enemy within that leaders must constantly guard against. By cultivating humility, embracing feedback, and prioritizing the team's success, leaders can create an environment that fosters trust, communication, and effective collaboration. Ultimately, Check the Ego serves as a wake-up call to leaders, urging them to confront their egos and recognize their potential to undermine their leadership. The author's insights and real-world examples demonstrate that the path to effective leadership requires a commitment to humility, accountability, and a relentless focus on the team's mission and success. By setting aside ego, leaders can empower their teams, make informed decisions, and drive unprecedented levels of achievement. Chapter 5: Cover and Move. The fifth chapter of Extreme Ownership, How U.S. Navy SEALs Lead and Win by Jocko Willink and Leif Babin introduces the concept of cover and move, a principle rooted in teamwork, collaboration, and mutual support. This chapter explores how leaders can foster a culture of interdependence and unity within their teams, leading to enhanced efficiency, adaptability, and mission success. Understanding cover and move. Cover and move is a military term that refers to a tactical maneuver where one team provides covering fire while another team advances to a new position. In the context of leadership and teamwork, the principle emphasizes the importance of selflessly supporting and assisting each other to achieve collective goals. Leadership through mutual support. The authors stress that leaders must cultivate an environment where every team member feels empowered to contribute and support one another. Leaders who prioritize individual and collective success over personal recognition create a culture of mutual respect and shared objectives. Case study: The Street Battle. Willink and Babin recount a street battle in Ramadi where two SEAL teams successfully employed the cover and move principle. By coordinating their efforts and providing covering fire for each other, the teams advanced and overcame enemy resistance. This example underscores how mutual support can lead to strategic advantage and mission accomplishment. The importance of delegation. Effective leaders understand the value of delegation and trust within a team. By entrusting team members with specific responsibilities, leaders free themselves to focus on higher-level tasks, while also demonstrating their confidence in the team's abilities. The pitfalls of micromanagement. The authors caution against micromanagement, as it stifles autonomy and prevents team members from exercising initiative and problem-solving skills. Leaders who constantly intervene or make decisions for their team members undermine the principle of cover and move. Shared ownership and cross-functional teams. Willink and Babin emphasize that cover and move applies not only within individual teams but also across different departments or units. Cross-functional teams must work collaboratively to ensure that each area of expertise supports the others, achieving shared objectives. Overcoming organizational silos. The authors address the issue of organizational silos, where different departments or teams operate independently without sharing information or resources. They stress that leaders must break down these barriers and foster a culture of cooperation and mutual assistance. Applying cover and move in business. Willink and Babin discuss how the cover and move principle applies to the business world. The importance of departments collaborating to achieve shared goals, and they emphasize that leaders must model and encourage this behavior to create a unified and effective organization. Conclusion: Unity drives success. The fifth chapter of Extreme Ownership underscores the importance of unity, mutual support, and collaboration in achieving success. The cover and move principle serves as a reminder that effective leadership involves not only individual competence but also the ability to synchronize efforts and harness the collective capabilities of a team. In essence, cover and move exemplifies the power of teamwork in achieving strategic advantage and overcoming challenges. By prioritizing the welfare and success of the team as a whole, leaders can create a culture that fosters cooperation, synergy, and shared accomplishment. Through real-world examples and practical insights, Willink and Babin inspire leaders to embrace the principle of cover and move and harness its transformative potential in both military and civilian contexts. Chapter 6, Simple. In the sixth chapter of Extreme Ownership, How U.S. Navy SEALs Lead and Win by Jocko Willink and Leif Babin, the authors delve into the concept of simplicity in leadership and decision-making. This chapter emphasizes the importance of clear, straightforward communication, streamlined processes, and avoiding unnecessary complexity to achieve effective execution and mission success. Understanding simplicity. The authors stress that simplicity is a key principle of effective leadership. Simplifying communication, plans, and strategies ensures that team members understand their roles and responsibilities clearly, minimizing the risk of misinterpretation or confusion. The impact of complexity. Willink and Babin discuss how complexity can hinder decision-making and execution. Leaders who create convoluted plans or strategies run the risk of overwhelming their teams, leading to mistakes, inefficiency, and mission failure. Case study: The Overcomplicated Rescue. The authors share an example of a complex rescue mission where multiple factors and variables led to confusion and indecision. The mission's failure demonstrated the consequences of not simplifying the plan and failing to ensure everyone understood their role clearly. The role of clarity in communication. The authors emphasize that leaders must communicate clearly and concisely to ensure that everyone is on the same page. Ambiguity and unclear communication can lead to misunderstandings, decreased morale, and compromised execution. Simplicity in planning. Effective planning involves identifying the core objectives and eliminating unnecessary steps. Leaders must focus on the critical tasks that will lead to mission success and avoid overcomplicating plans with excessive details. Decentralized command and simplicity. The authors revisit the principle of decentralized command and its connection to simplicity. Leaders who decentralize decision-making must ensure that their teams understand the mission's intent and objectives clearly, allowing them to make informed decisions without unnecessary oversight. Simplicity and risk mitigation. Simplicity in leadership extends to risk mitigation. Leaders who focus on straightforward, well-communicated plans are better equipped to anticipate potential risks and adapt to changing circumstances. Simplifying training and development. Willink and Babin discuss how the principle of simplicity applies to training and development. Leaders should focus on core skills and fundamentals, avoiding the temptation to introduce unnecessary complexity. The business world and simplicity. The authors highlight the relevance of simplicity in the business world. Complex organizational structures, processes, and communication can hinder efficiency and innovation. Leaders must prioritize clear communication, streamlined processes, and avoiding bureaucratic red tape. Conclusion: The power of clarity. In the sixth chapter of Extreme Ownership, the authors emphasize the transformative impact of simplicity in leadership and decision-making. The principle of simplicity fosters clear communication, streamlined processes, and effective execution, leading to enhanced performance and mission success. Ultimately, Simple serves as a reminder that leadership is not about showcasing complexity but about delivering clear, concise communication and plans that everyone can understand and execute. Through real-world examples and practical insights, Willink and Babin challenge leaders to prioritize simplicity, eliminate unnecessary complexities, and empower their teams to excel through straightforward and efficient execution. Chapter 7: Prioritize and Execute. The seventh chapter of Extreme Ownership, How U.S. Navy SEALs Lead and Win by Jocko Willink and Leif Babin introduces the principle of prioritize and execute. This chapter emphasizes the importance of remaining focused on the most critical tasks, making swift decisions, and executing them with discipline. The authors demonstrate how this principle can lead to effective leadership, problem-solving, and successful mission accomplishment. Understanding prioritize and execute. Prioritize and execute is a leadership principle that involves identifying the most critical tasks or objectives and then executing them with decisiveness and discipline. It requires leaders to avoid becoming overwhelmed by minor tasks and distractions and instead concentrate on the tasks that will have the greatest impact on achieving the mission. The dangers of overwhelming complexity. Willink and Babin stress that leaders can become paralyzed by the complexity of tasks and decisions, which can lead to hesitation and inaction. The principle of prioritize and execute combats this by urging leaders to focus on one task at a time, simplifying the decision-making process. Case study: the damaged boat. The authors recount a situation where they encountered a damaged boat during a mission. By applying the principle of prioritize and execute, they quickly identified the most critical issues and delegated tasks accordingly, enabling them to repair the boat and continue the mission successfully. Decisive leadership. The authors highlight that indecision can be a leader's worst enemy. Leaders who hesitate or delay decisions can create confusion and inefficiency within the team. Prioritize and execute encourages leaders to make decisions based on the most important priorities and move forward swiftly. The importance of discipline. Executing priorities requires discipline, even in challenging circumstances. The authors stress that leaders must remain committed to executing the most critical tasks, even when faced with adversity or distractions. Applying prioritize and execute in business. Willink and Babin discuss how the principle of prioritize and execute translates to the business world. Leaders must identify the most important tasks and allocate resources accordingly, avoiding the trap of overcommitting or micromanaging. Avoiding task saturation. Leaders who take on too many tasks or commitments can become overwhelmed, leading to ineffective leadership. Prioritize and execute encourages leaders to avoid task saturation by focusing on the highest impact tasks and delegating or eliminating lower priority tasks. Communication and alignment. The authors emphasize that prioritize and execute requires effective communication within the team. Leaders must ensure that the team understands the priorities and remains aligned in executing them. Adapting to changing circumstances. The principle of prioritize and execute is adaptable to different situations. Leaders to adjust their focus and priorities based on evolving circumstances, ensuring that the team remains on track toward mission accomplishment. Conclusion: focused execution for success. In the 7th chapter of Extreme Ownership, the authors introduce the powerful principle of prioritize and execute, which guides leaders to maintain focus, make swift decisions, and execute with discipline. This principle is essential for effective leadership, enabling leaders to navigate complexity, avoid indecision, and achieve mission success. By highlighting real-world examples and providing practical insights, Willink and Babin underscore the transformative potential of prioritize and execute in both military and business contexts. This principle serves as a reminder that leadership involves making tough decisions, remaining disciplined in execution, and focusing on the tasks that will drive the greatest impact. Ultimately, prioritize and execute empowers leaders to lead with clarity, decisiveness, and effectiveness, driving their teams toward unprecedented levels of achievement. Chapter 8: Decentralized Command. In the 8th chapter of Extreme Ownership, How U.S. Navy SEALs Lead and Win by Jocko Willink and Leif Babin, the authors delve into the concept of decentralized command. This principle emphasizes the distribution of decision-making authority throughout a team or organization, enabling rapid adaptation, initiative, and the effective execution of tasks. Understanding decentralized command. Decentralized command involves distributing decision-making authority across various levels of leadership within a team or organization. It empowers individuals to make informed decisions based on the mission's overall intent, fostering adaptability, ownership, and accountability. Breaking down hierarchical structures. The authors challenge the traditional top-down approach to leadership, which can lead to bottlenecks and delays in decision-making. Decentralized command breaks down hierarchical structures, allowing leaders at all levels to take initiative and respond to evolving situations. Case study: the rescue mission. Willink and Babin illustrate the power of decentralized command with a case study of a rescue mission involving multiple teams. Through effective communication, each team leader exercised initiative and made decisions aligned with the mission's overall intent, resulting in a successful rescue. Training and empowerment. Decentralized command requires thorough training and empowerment. Leaders must ensure that team members understand the mission's intent, strategy, and objectives to make informed decisions aligned with the larger goal. Risk management and trust. The authors discuss how decentralized command balances risk management with trust. While leaders delegate authority, they must also establish clear boundaries and guidelines to prevent reckless decision-making. Leadership's role in decentralized command. The authors stress that while decentralized command empowers individual leaders, senior leaders still play a vital role in setting the overall direction and strategy. Senior leaders must ensure that everyone understands the mission's intent and goals to prevent misalignment. Applying decentralized command in business. Willink and Babin discuss how decentralized command applies to the business world. Organizations that empower employees at various levels to make decisions foster a culture of ownership, innovation, and adaptability. Communication and unity. Effective communication is crucial in decentralized command. Leaders must maintain open lines of communication to ensure that decisions align with the mission's intent and to prevent fragmentation. Balancing independence and collaboration. The authors address the challenge of balancing independence with collaboration. Decentralized command doesn't mean every individual in isolation, instead, it encourages collaborative decision-making that contributes to the team's overall success. Conclusion: Empowerment for success. In the 8th chapter of Extreme Ownership, the authors introduce the transformative principle of decentralized command. This principle empowers individuals at all levels of leadership to make informed decisions, adapt to changing circumstances, and execute tasks effectively. Through real-world examples and practical insights, Willink and Babin emphasize that decentralized command fosters a culture of initiative, ownership, and adaptability. By distributing decision-making authority and trusting team members to act in alignment with the mission's intent, leaders can achieve greater flexibility, rapid response, and overall mission success. Ultimately, decentralized command challenges traditional notions of hierarchical leadership and encourages leaders to trust their teams, empower individuals, and distribute decision-making authority. This principle exemplifies how effective leadership involves not only strong direction from senior leaders but also the empowerment and initiative of every team member. Chapter 9, Plan. In the 9th chapter of Extreme Ownership, How U.S. Navy SEALs Lead and Win by Jocko Willink and Leif Babin, the authors delve into the critical aspect of planning and effective leadership. This chapter highlights the importance of thorough, adaptable planning that considers various contingencies and enables teams to navigate complex situations successfully. Understanding the power of planning. Effective planning is at the core of successful leadership and mission execution. Leaders must develop comprehensive plans that outline objectives, strategies, and potential challenges to ensure mission success. The role of ownership in planning. The authors emphasize that leaders must take ownership of the planning process. Leaders who genuinely own the plan are more invested in its success, inspiring their teams to follow suit. Case study: The hostage rescue. Willink and Babin illustrate the significance of planning through a case study of a hostage rescue operation. The operation's success was a result of meticulous planning that accounted for various scenarios and contingencies. The importance of contingency planning. The authors discuss the need for contingency planning to address unexpected challenges. Leaders must anticipate potential obstacles and develop alternative approaches to ensure they are prepared for any situation. Adaptable plans. While planning is essential, rigid plans can hinder adaptability. Leaders must develop plans that are adaptable to changing circumstances, allowing teams to make real-time adjustments as needed. Brief and debrief. Effective planning involves thorough briefings before a mission and comprehensive debriefings afterward. Briefings ensure that the team understands the plan, while debriefings identify lessons learned and areas for improvement. Alignment and communication. Leaders must ensure that everyone on the team is aligned with the plan's objectives and strategies. Clear communication and understanding prevent misunderstandings and mistakes during execution. Overcoming complexity. Complex missions require thorough planning. The authors stress that even the most challenging tasks can be broken down into manageable steps through effective planning. Applying planning in business. Willink and Babin emphasize that planning is equally crucial in the business world. Leaders must develop strategic plans that outline goals, strategies, and potential obstacles to achieve long-term success. Balancing planning with execution. While planning is crucial, it must be balanced with efficient execution. Leaders who spend excessive time planning without executing risk wasting valuable resources and missing opportunities. Conclusion: the blueprint for success. In the 9th chapter of Extreme Ownership, the authors highlight the pivotal role of planning in effective leadership. Through thorough preparation, adaptable strategies, and consideration of potential challenges, leaders set their teams up for success in even the most complex missions. By using real-world examples and practical insights, Willink and Babin stress that planning is not only about developing a blueprint but also about empowering teams to navigate uncertainty and execute effectively. Ultimately, the chapter serves as a reminder that leadership involves meticulous planning, ownership, and the flexibility to adapt in the face of adversity. Chapter 10: Leading Up and Down the Chain of Command. In the 10th chapter of Extreme Ownership, How U.S. Navy SEALs Lead and Win by Jocko Willink and Leif Babin, the authors explore the concept of leading both up and down the chain of command. This chapter emphasizes the importance of effective communication, collaboration, and leadership at all levels of an organization to achieve mission success. Understanding leading up and down the chain of command. Leading up and down the chain of command refers to the ability of leaders to effectively communicate, collaborate, and influence both their superiors and their subordinates. This principle recognizes that leadership is not limited to one direction but requires a holistic approach that considers the entire team's dynamics. Leadership across hierarchies. The authors challenge the notion that leaders only provide direction downward. They emphasize that effective leaders also contribute valuable insights, feedback, and suggestions to their superiors, contributing to the organization's overall success. Case study: the operation's success. Willink and Babin provide an example of how effective leadership across hierarchies led to a successful mission. The collaboration between team leaders and higher-ranking officers demonstrated the power of open communication and mutual respect. Effective communication. Leading up and down the chain of command hinges on effective communication. Leaders must clearly articulate their thoughts, ideas, concerns, and feedback to ensure that the entire team is aligned. Mitigating ego and ego clash. The authors discuss the challenge of mitigating ego conflicts, especially when leaders at different levels of the chain of command disagree. Effective leaders prioritize the mission's success over personal agendas. Constructive feedback. Leaders must be open to giving and receiving constructive feedback. Leaders who provide honest feedback with the intent to improve foster a culture of growth and continuous improvement. Balancing ownership and collaboration. Effective leaders balance ownership and collaboration. They take ownership of their responsibilities while also collaborating with others to achieve a common goal. Leading down the chain. Leaders must also inspire, mentor, and guide their subordinates. Effective leaders invest time and effort into developing their teams, enabling them to take on more significant responsibilities. Leading up the chain. Leading up requires humility, courage, and the ability to voice concerns or offer insights to higher-ranking leaders. Leaders must provide solutions and insights that contribute to the organization's success. Applying leading up and down in business. The principle of leading up and down the chain of command is relevant in business settings as well. Effective leaders communicate and collaborate across different levels of the organization, fostering a culture of open dialogue and continuous improvement. Conclusion: collaborative leadership for success. In the 10th chapter of Extreme Ownership, Willink and Babin underscore the importance of leading up and down the chain of command. Effective leadership is not confined to a single direction but involves communication, collaboration, and respect for every member of the team, regardless of rank. Through practical examples and insights, the authors demonstrate that successful leadership requires the ability to communicate clearly, offer constructive feedback, and collaborate with both superiors and subordinates. Leaders who embrace this principle contribute to a culture of openness, growth, and mutual respect, ultimately driving the entire organization toward mission success. Chapter 11: Decisiveness Amid Uncertainty. In the 11th chapter of Extreme Ownership, How U.S. Navy SEALs Lead and Win by Jocko Willink and Leif Babin, the authors explore the critical leadership quality of decisiveness amid uncertainty. This chapter delves into the challenges leaders face when making tough decisions in uncertain and high-pressure situations and provides insights on how effective leaders navigate such scenarios. Understanding decisiveness amid uncertainty. Decisiveness amid uncertainty refers to a leader's ability to make timely and effective decisions even when faced with incomplete information or rapidly changing circumstances. This leadership quality is essential for maintaining momentum, preventing indecision, and ensuring mission success. The consequences of indecision. The authors highlight the dangers of indecision, which can lead to missed opportunities, stalled progress, and ultimately failure. Leaders who hesitate in making decisions risk undermining their team's confidence and effectiveness. Case study: the firefight. Willink and Babin provide a case study of a firefight in a combat scenario. In this situation, the team leader had to make quick decisions in the midst of chaos, demonstrating the importance of decisiveness to control the situation and achieve the mission's objectives. Balancing speed and accuracy. Effective leaders must strike a balance between making timely decisions and ensuring accuracy. While speed is crucial, rash decisions can lead to negative consequences. Leaders must assess the situation, gather relevant information, and act decisively without unnecessary delays. The role of leadership in decisiveness. The authors discuss how leadership plays a significant role in fostering a culture of decisiveness. Leaders who exhibit decisiveness set an example for their team, encouraging them to take bold action when necessary. Embracing the unknown. Leadership often involves navigating uncharted territory and facing uncertainty. Effective leaders embrace the unknown, using their experience, knowledge, and judgment to make informed decisions. Overcoming fear and risk aversion. Fear and risk aversion can paralyze decision-making. Leaders must confront their fears, evaluate risks, and make choices that align with the mission's objectives, even if those choices involve some level of uncertainty. Applying decisiveness in business. Decisiveness is equally important in the business world. Leaders must make timely decisions to capitalize on opportunities, adapt to market changes, and drive their organizations forward. Learning from mistakes. While decisiveness is crucial, leaders must also be willing to learn from mistakes. If a decision doesn't yield the desired outcome, leaders must take responsibility, analyze the situation, and adjust their approach for future decisions. Conclusion: the power of decisive leadership. In the 11th chapter of Extreme, Willink and Babin highlight the vital importance of decisiveness amid uncertainty. They emphasize that leaders must have the confidence and courage to make timely decisions, even when faced with ambiguity and high-pressure situations. Through real-world examples and practical insights, the authors stress that decisive leaders inspire confidence, drive momentum, and maintain the team's effectiveness. The chapter serves as a reminder that successful leadership involves taking calculated risks, confronting uncertainty, and making informed decisions that contribute to overall mission success. Chapter 12: Discipline equals Freedom, the Dichotomy of Leadership. In the 12th chapter of Extreme Ownership, How U.S. Navy SEALs Lead and Win by Jocko Willink and Leif Babin, the authors explore the concept of discipline as a driving force behind effective leadership and personal success. This chapter delves into the dichotomy of leadership, highlighting how seemingly contradictory qualities can coexist to create a balanced and effective approach to leadership. Understanding the dichotomy of leadership. The authors introduce the idea that leadership often involves navigating between seemingly opposing qualities. This chapter focuses on the dichotomy of leadership, specifically the balance between discipline and freedom. Discipline equals freedom. The central theme of the chapter is that discipline leads to freedom. While discipline may appear constricting, it is the foundation for achieving personal and professional goals. A disciplined approach to leadership, planning, and execution leads to freedom from chaos, inefficiency, and failure. Case study: the chaos of neglect. Willink and Babin provide a case study that illustrates the consequences of neglecting discipline. A lack of discipline can lead to disorganization, missed opportunities, and ultimately, mission failure. The benefits of discipline. The authors discuss the benefits of discipline in various aspects of life, from personal health and fitness to business operations. Discipline allows individuals and teams to achieve their objectives with greater efficiency and effectiveness. Discipline in decision-making. Leaders must exercise discipline in decision-making. Thoughtful analysis, consideration of options, and the willingness to make tough choices all require discipline. The balance of freedom and structure. While discipline is essential, leaders must also provide a degree of freedom to their teams. A balance between structure and freedom fosters creativity, innovation, and ownership among team members. Applying discipline in business. Discipline is a cornerstone of success in business. Leaders must instill disciplined practices throughout the organization to ensure efficient operations, effective communication, and long-term growth. Discipline in training and preparation. Preparation is a form of discipline that allows individuals and teams to respond effectively to challenges. Well-prepared leaders can make informed decisions and adapt to changing circumstances. The will to win. The authors emphasize that discipline is a mindset that fuels the will to win. Leaders with discipline persevere through challenges, setbacks, and adversity, ultimately achieving their goals. Conclusion: the power of discipline. In the 12th chapter of Extreme Ownership, Willink and Babin underscore the significance of discipline as a driving force behind effective leadership and personal success. The dichotomy of leadership highlights the balance between discipline and freedom, with discipline serving as the foundation for achieving greatness. Through practical examples and insights, the authors stress that discipline is not restrictive but empowering. Leaders who embrace discipline cultivate a culture of accountability, efficiency, and continuous improvement, ultimately leading their teams to success. The chapter serves as a reminder that discipline is the key to unlocking freedom and achieving exceptional results in every aspect of life. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more invaluable book summaries. Whether you're a leader, a professional, or a lifelong learner, this video is your gateway to transformation.